Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Ishal Fatima.
And my name is Nahal Fatima.
Welcome to ENA Islamic Stories.
Today we will be saying the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, part 2. So let's start from where we stopped last time. So Ibrahim alayhi salam's father told Ibrahim alayhi salam to get out of his sight. He said that if you do not get out of my sight, I will beat you, I will stone you, get out of my sight. And at that time there was only 2 people who believed in Islam in Ibrahim alayhi salam's city, and that was Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's nephew Lut, and also a very beautiful and kind young lady named Sarah alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam married Sarah alayhi salam, and all 3 of them decided to move out of the city so they could travel to different places and spread the message of Islam. And then, so while they were traveling, Lut alayhi salam decided to settle down, and so Sarah alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam traveled without Lut alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah alayhi salam traveled to Egypt, and when they reached Egypt, Jibreel alayhi salam came down to warn them about the king that was ruling over Egypt at that time. Jibreel alayhi salam had told Ibrahim alayhi salam that the king was a very evil king, and that he should beware of the king. And so Ibrahim alayhi salam told Sarah alayhi salam to pretend that they were brother and sister, not a married couple, that they were brother and sister. And if anyone asked, Sarah alayhi salam should tell the people who asked that they were brother and sister. And while they were walking, the two soldiers saw Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah alayhi salam, and they immediately went back and reported to their king. And the soldiers told the king that that they saw a man and a very beautiful young lady, and that they were both foreigners. And so the king told the soldiers to bring them to him.
So the king invited Sarah alayhi salam for dinner, and during the dinner, the king, because Sarah alayhi salam was so beautiful, the king tried to touch Sarah alayhi salam. So immediately Sarah alayhi salam asked for Allah's protection, and the king's hand became paralyzed. So he immediately called all the medics and the nurses and the doctors in his palace, and no one could fix his hand. So then he asked Sarah alayhi salam, "What did I do to my hand?" So then she said, "I made dua to Allah to protect me, and Allah protected me from your evil." So he said she could undo it, and so she made dua to Allah, and Allah made his hand back to normal. So they continued their dinner, and after some time, he tried to touch her again. So half of his upper body became paralyzed, and so he asked her to undo it, if she could undo it, and so she made dua to Allah, and Allah made his upper body back to normal. And for the 3rd time, he tried to touch her again. So the 3rd time, for the 2nd time, he's breaking his promise. And this time Sarah alayhi salam said she would not undo it. But after some time, she felt sorry for the man, and she made dua to Allah, and Allah made his body back to normal. And this time, he said that she was an evil sorcerer, or she was an evil woman and a sorcerer, and he told her that she and Ibrahim alayhi salam should leave his kingdom, and he gifted her a slave, a servant called Hajar alayhi salam. So soon it was Hajar alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Sarah alayhi salam who was traveling. Soon Hajar alayhi salam, after staying with Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah alayhi salam, she became Muslim.
And also Sarah alayhi salam and Ibrahim alayhi salam started to become old, and Ibrahim alayhi salam wanted to have a child, but Sarah alayhi salam could not give him a child. And Sarah alayhi salam felt very sad by this. So Sarah alayhi salam suggested that Ibrahim alayhi salam marry Hajar. And Ibrahim alayhi salam took the suggestion in and married Hajar alayhi salam. And they had a child named Ismail alayhi salam. And then Sarah alayhi salam felt very sad by this because she could not give Ibrahim alayhi salam a child. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give Sarah alayhi salam a child. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down Jibreel alayhi salam
Allah sent down to a few angels to tell the message, but they were actually hidden in human form. So they went to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's home, and so immediately out of hospitality, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam told Sarah alayhi salam to prepare a roasted calf. And so she started preparing the roasted calf. And when the roasted calf was brought out in front of the angels, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam didn't know that the people in front of him were actually angels. And when they didn't eat, he started to get scared of them, and started to fear, like, why were they not eating? Like, he was having thoughts like this. So immediately the angels told him, do not fear us, Ibrahim. We are angels from Allah, and we came to give you the message of Ishaq. Sarah alayhi salam would be having a child, and so immediately Sarah alayhi salam became so happy. It was good. It was like too good to be true, because she was so old that she didn't think it was possible for someone her age to have children. So the angels told her anything is possible with Allah. And soon Ibrahim alayhi salam and Sarah alayhi salam had Ishaq. And one day Ibrahim alayhi salam was walking, and he spent all his days preaching Islam, and he knew that there was the afterlife, but he wanted to be sure. He wanted to make his mind at ease and his heart at ease. So he asked Allah if he could show him about the afterlife, bringing the dead back to life. And so Allah asked him, "You do not believe in my message? You still do not believe in my message, in me, in the afterlife?" He said that he believes in it, but he wants to bring like a sense of peace in his heart and his mind. So Allah said to get 4 birds and put them in 4 separate mountains, and then 4 dead birds on 4 different mountains, and call the name of Allah, and he would see the power of Allah. So he said the name. Ibrahim alayhi salam said the name of Allah, and soon the 4 birds immediately came towards him, back to life, flying happily as if nothing else happened. So that made Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam have a strong belief and a very strong sense of peace, because he knows that there's an afterlife, and after he dies, he'll come back to life and on the Day of Judgment, and after the Day of Judgment as well. So that's the end of the story. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Assalamu Alaikum.